And it looks
Good
like
morning.
good morning. It looks like we're live.
Do you have your bulletproof coffee?
Sort of.
Sort
It's it was the bottom of the barrel and it's burnt and gross. So I'm pretending like I'm drinking. It was glorious earlier this morning when I was up way too early. I actually told little Jay, I said, on Thursday mornings, do not let me sleep in. I need to get up. And so he thinks that that's every morning now. But,
oh, no.
All right.
Well, good morning and welcome to Live with Mama Tribe.
Live with Mama Tribe.
I'm OG Mamacita.
OG Mamacita. I'm MJ.
Yep, that's it, just MJ.
Yep, this
MJ.
is Live with Mama Tribe.
That's it. And this is the part where we just start to wake up with our coffee, even though in reality we've probably been woken up or been awake for more hours than we would like to admit by this time. And we are, like MJ just said, at the dregs of our coffee. This is the last bit of the coffee. And so when I added my creamer, it got kind of cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't stand that.
No. You know, I'm getting another Google Hangout call right now, and I think that's probably from our guest.
Okay. Well,
So
I
I'm
can
going to message
fill.
her. Go ahead,
All
Em.
right. Oh, no, I was just going to say I could fill in while you chat with her.
Please do.
Now I forgot what I was going to talk about, but it had something to do with coffee.
Oh, yes. Are the bulletproof coffee, maybe? No?
I'm getting a Hangout call, too. I'll have to end that one.
Yeah.
Send her the link. Send her the link.
I'm trying.
I hope you guys can't hear that.
You know, okay, I got the link.
But
So
you know what? This is what live is all about.
It is.
You know, don't claim to be professionals here.
No, we are professionals. We are just lax professionals.
Even in motherhood.
Yeah, I'm not even going to say lax professionals. We're just not as, let's see, what's the word? Rigid?
Oh, I like that. I don't want to be rigid at anything. And I did remember what I was going to say was that I grew up with a large family. So at the dinner table or really any meal was, yay, there you are, Danielle.
Good morning. Good morning. You made it.
I made it. I'm so glad about it. I was trying to get on here, and I think I just pushed the wrong button, guys. I apologize for that.
It's quite all right. Well, we're in our little coffee chat moment, so segment of the show. So if you'd like to just get yourself situated, and we'll continue chatting, that's perfectly fine.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, so you were saying MJ about coffee?
Saying that, yeah, growing up with a large family, it was rare when the food got around you that it was actually still hot. So I have like this really weird thing about like now I like my hot food hot or my coffee hot, and I like my cold food cold. It's just, I think it's just one of those things that when you grow up and you just don't get it, like, now that I have control over it, like
yeah. So let me ask you, because I was reading about this on BuzzFeed a couple of weeks ago. Do you put ice in your cereal if you like your cold stuff cold?
No, I have never done ice, but I will not eat cereal with like milk that is lukewarm. Like it's just, no way, I cannot do it. Yeah.
No.
And like, just anything that tuna salad, egg salad, I mean, like that, those type of things, they just can't, they have to be like cold.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I remember reading, I just remember reading in one of the Cajillion books about a family who was so poor that they would have to share the cereal milk
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
like, so you wanted to make sure to get to the table early so that you would get the milk, as early as possible, because by the time it got down to you, if you were slow, it was like warm and thick. And
So now that to me sounds like whoever finishes their cereal, like they're giving the milk to the next person. Like,
yeah,
not that. Oh, really? Oh,
yeah,
yeah. I don't know if I
yeah.
can do that, but hey,
If
if
you're
that's what we
poor
have,
and that's
yeah.
all the milk, yeah. Yeah. So
Well,
you ate
I
your
feel
coffee
very
chat.
blessed then.
I'm glad. Yeah, I never had that problem being the youngest. I pretty much, it was either given to me or I fended for myself. So
Yeah.
yeah, there were only 4 of us, so I didn't have to fight over much.
Yeah, there was at one point there was 6 of us, all under one roof. But that was just one side of the family, and then I had the other side because everybody got divorced and remarried. The other side there was 4 of us, so I actually have 5 brothers and 2 sisters, but they're not all in the same family. So
Crazy.
yeah,
No, the 4 of us all lived under one roof. I would say maybe a total of 6 years.
mm,
And then from that point on, it was like each sibling, the elder siblings kind of went their own ways, and then it was just me. And I had my own apartment at the age of 16 because my dad and I could not live under the same roof.
oh my gosh.
So we lived on either sides of town. It was pretty cool and lonely at the same time. But so
I have
how's
a
it
child
going?
needing me. Hold on one second.
Okay, go ahead. How are you doing there, Miss Danielle?
I'm doing great.
Oh, well, this is good. So if you're ready, we'll go ahead and introduce you.
I'm ready whenever you guys are.
Okay, very cool. So this is the who, what, why, and how segment.
Okay.
So tell us who you are, what you do, and how can we become better parents through the information that you have?
Right. Well, I'm a clinical social worker and adjunct faculty professor here in San Diego. I'm also completing a doctoral degree in a field called depth psychology. And so my work is sort of around teaching, and I work with a really interesting perspective that kind of integrates fields of biology and culture and creativity and spirituality. And then also reflects, therapeutic approaches. And so my goal for today's presentation is to sort of encourage pregnancy as a mode of spiritual and psychological transformation to the health of the baby, the mother, and the family, and then to also talk about what promise prenatal bonding holds for this process.
Very cool, very fascinating. I had noticed an article on your Facebook page about how, the effects of our environment those effects don't start after birth. They actually start in utero, and I always would call it the wombiverse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I found that very interesting. That
Yes.
a lot of times we don't think about that.
That's right. We don't. And I think it probably comes from this place of, as mothers, as women, we're so driven by our schedules, by our family, our work obligations. And so sometimes we don't have time to really capture or understand or tap into these moments. Mm-hmm. But when we do, we find that they're truly fascinating and awe-inspiring. And when we do these things, we also have the potential as women to shift, our way of being, into a deep instinctual relationship with our babies and also with the spiritual world. So, it's a really great thing to begin talking about, and prenatal bonding as a topic is beginning to gain more recognition in the field of perinatal health and research, and more mommies are coming on board with their understanding with it as well. So I'm really excited to bring this topic to our audience here today.
Sounds like, too, Danielle, if you have that bond with your child, this could also help with labor and delivery, and like moms getting the birth that they want, having the birth that they want, if they can talk to their child beforehand and say, okay, keep your head down.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. There are a lot of benefits. And just some of those benefits, are both within the realm of labor. It's also within the realm of the mother, gaining some sense of awareness of who she is. It kind of makes room for women to kind of claim, disown aspects of themselves. And some of these things are essential for taking on a more natural role of nurturing and accepting and cooperating with the meaningful aspects of our pregnancies. And so, of course, that includes labor. A woman's initiation into understanding who she is, during this process harnesses confidence, it harnesses grace, and the maternal progression toward a new way of being. So absolutely, it's critical for mothers during the labor process, during the pregnancy process, and it also has the potential to positively usher in the life of the baby. Because the mother and the baby, the mother and the fetus are interconnected in the sense that the mother's emotional world represents that of her unborn child. And so, by responding straight away to the internal symptoms of uneasiness, either during labor or during pregnancy, such as depression or anxiety, a pregnant woman sort of paves the way for her child's well-being and prepares him or her for subsequent relationships experienced in his or her lifetime. And that's sort of all around attachment theories and processes as well.
Yeah.
Hey, Danielle, before we go on, I really want to make sure that this video is good for you. So can you maybe like pan your camera down a bit, because I'm getting you cut off. There, too far. You're a bit extreme there. Okay, perfect. Yes. Okay, good. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, no, yeah. So one of the things that I found really interesting was after. Of course, I found these articles after I had given birth, but, excuse me, and it goes along right into your field of study about how we respond to situations and relationships and our environment while pregnant kind of sets a base or a standard for how our children will behave in similar situations in their own life. So for example, if we are in a type of relationship where there's a lot of anxiety or a lot of fear, then our children will kind of like, they're preset to have that as well. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. It's interesting because David Chamberlain, I don't know if you all are familiar with David Chamberlain, but he wrote a beautiful book called What Every Parent Should Know. And he kind of was the first years ago to propose this whole idea of, the baby in the womb, the prenate, being sentient and aware, and able to engage in this bi-directional relationship with not just the mother, but with the father as well. Wow. And his research showed that babies in the womb, have definite preferences that they reveal, through their own spontaneous actions, kicking and so forth. And we see this when they feel hurt, when they feel pain, when they feel threatened, they react in self-defense. And memories of trauma are not forgotten. These memories continue to influence life sort of on an unconscious level. And so his findings warn us that chronic stress during pregnancy, may very well affect the later well-being, of our children. He was the first to propose that,
voice that
years ago. Yeah.
Well, I think a great example of that, and as something that we all just kind of take in stride, is when I was pregnant with Cash, anytime I would sing, he would go nuts. And I used to tease and be like, he either loves it or is trying to get the fuck out.
He's like, Mom, you have a horrible voice.
So if that's just how he responded to my singing, you know, like in retrospect, I can imagine how he might have responded that night that I had like a nuclear meltdown about how was I going to protect him for the rest of his life. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think, you know, it's interesting because, you know, as moms, we have those beautiful experiences of joy, and then we also have experiences of sadness, and that's all a part of the mothering process. One of my other favorite authors is Mary Axness, and she has written extensively on an article that she titles "When the Joy of the Mother is Missing." And, you know, what she says is that, you know, we have to be willing to consider lots of things. We have to be willing to consider our own history with our own parents. We have to be willing to sort of explore that history, you know, during childbirth. We have to be willing and to be prepared to meet ourselves and to be seen by our babies. And that we often do this through pregnancy, labor, birth, and the postpartum period. And so she's always willing to pose this question. And she says, again, is the mother feeling joy? Because what she says is that many new mothers suffer behind a facade of frantic perfectionism. You know, and that perfectionism sort of obscures the possibility of, you know, there being something wrong. We don't know when there's something wrong because there's so many other areas that are things, other relationships, technology, way of life. Those things are sort of taking taking away from what might be going on inside. So I really like her approach to addressing this. If anyone wants to take a look at her research, her articles, and her books, she's also another one called Parenting for Peace. And what she's saying is that, you know, our awareness of mothering and about pregnancy is really just about compassionate awareness. It's about understanding ourselves and our own stories. And we begin to ask questions like, who am I as a woman? Who am I, you know, as a mother-to-be? Who am I as a partner? And how does my childhood impact how I see and understand myself? You know, there are issues lingering from our own family life that might be worth attending to now, you know, as we blaze this new path of parenthood. And, you know, she says, you know, what kind of role model? We need to ask ourselves, what kind of role model do we want to be for our children? And how should I bolster my internal resources so that I now feel centered when the baby is in my arms, when the baby is actually born? And so, you know, this kind of raises, you know, really interesting moments and opportunities. You know, the pregnancy process, that is, and the childbearing process, that is, raises opportunities for us to heal our own past. And that past is intimately intertwined with our own children's future. Yeah, definitely.
So is this something that could be almost confused or mislabeled as, you know, like postpartum depression, this like missing happiness kind of thing?
Yeah, in fact it can be and is often labeled as postpartum depression. Yes, okay. Absolutely. The whole topic of prenatal bonding sort of addresses and deals with some of those issues as well. It's not just about you know, some of those awe-inspiring moments that we have in the connection that we embrace with our babies that are developing in the womb, but it also has to do with how stress and how negative feelings might actually impact our children as they're developing. Yeah.
So fascinating.
Yeah.
It's just it just blows my mind. What is it? Epigenetics? Is that what it's called again? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Epigenetics. Yeah, epigenetics sort of is it's the study of heritable changes in gene expression. And what it says is that it recognizes that DNA is not the grand destiny maker of life, that it identifies other mechanisms in the environment, it identifies diet, thoughts, and behavior, and how these actions begin to change our genes.
So cool.
So that's sort of one of the, you know, that's one basis. It's sort of the basis upon which ideas of prenatal bonding rest. But then there are other, you know, linkages as well, psychological and somatic processes that associate the health of the mother and the fetus to factors of parenting and environmental influences.
So it's if I understand correctly, it's like a real amalgamation or a blend of the nature and nurture.
Yes.
So that
Exactly.
we can go ahead and take a previous situation, and it doesn't have to be a pattern for future encounters with that situation, that we can take that and
Absolutely.
make those modifications so that we can improve and learn and have a better relationship with our child.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
very hope
Absolutely.
fulfilling. That's very filling of hope. I don't know how to say that in English, but it's
I think too, like just I've never learned so much about myself until I was a mom, and I think that some parents don't really grasp onto that like you're saying, we can kind of it brings up stuff from our childhood that maybe we haven't dealt with, maybe we know about, but we need to deal with, and it just, if we let it, parenting can like help us be the people that we want to be.
Yes.
ah,
Yes.
so sappy and romantic. I love it.
It doesn't have to be horrible all the time.
I
It can actually be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. I really like, some of the methods out there, because there are, sort of clinicians that help moms through this process. And, so that they don't feel like they have to do it alone, because it can be, very complicated. It requires, a great deal of imagination and connection, sort of being in those quiet spaces, those quiet moments to begin to connect, with the babies that are developing in the womb. And there's one beautiful method invented by a German psychologist. And he is one of the primary forerunners in developing this method and training other practitioners out there. And what he does is he sort of helps the mothers dialogue with their babies. He encourages the moms to lie on their backs, really, on a really comfortable mattress, get in a relaxed position with the intention of focusing, on their inner perceptions, and then sort of centering their awareness on their breathing, their bodily feelings, focusing more and more on inner images and words and emotions. And what he says is that gradually, as images become more frequent, that creates a more constant flow of information and communication between a mother and her baby.
That's insane.
And mothers find out how their babies are developing, what they're feeling, and what they're needing through this process, so the research says. So it's really interesting to see how this topic is growing in the field of mental health, to really begin to support mothers in becoming more relaxed during the pregnancy process, to really get that embodied sense of connection that they need with their babies. And often they're also doing this through their dreams, once again, and their images that surface of the babies developing in the womb.
So I have a question, and this is not in any way meant as an offense, but more as a devil's advocate. But
I love it. I love devil's advocate.
How do you respond if somebody's like first inclination upon hearing this is that is a bunch of hippie-dippie hogwash?
Yeah.
It's like how do we deal with that?
Yeah, and that's a common response and reaction, to this whole process. If you can't see what's going on in the womb, it's really hard to begin to understand what it feels like to connect, with the baby. Most of the time, people don't get that sense of connection, until they've walked into the doctor's office and they see the image on the monitor that says, "Oh my God, there's a baby in there. It's kicking.
There's a heartbeat.
It's responding." And so, or they don't get the sense that, there's the connection there until perhaps they push on the belly, and perhaps the baby pushes back, and they realize, "Oh my God, my baby is actually engaging with me in some way." So when we think of it in those using those tactile moments of feeling and seeing our babies, we can begin to imagine what it might feel like for the baby to also begin to engage with our thoughts and our feelings. See, the babies are, once again, sentient and aware beings. It's not just those moments of, physical activity that they're engaging in with us. They're engaging with the feelings and the thoughts of the mother as well. So we have to begin to look at the baby as this whole being that has the ability to engage with the mother on multiple levels. And I think when we can look at it from that perspective, it changes that view of, there sort of being the hogwash of, oh, this isn't possible, this doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. It happens on multiple levels. Yeah.
So we're just, in essence, expanding on what humans have known since the dawn of humanity, which is, like you said, I push on my belly and sometimes the baby responds. So now we're just looking at it almost more esoterically, or from, more microscopically, I guess, also to see how those things can actually be quantified or marked. I want to get back to something you said earlier, which was that fathers, how do fathers bond prenatally?
Yeah. Right. The role of the father is also important. The relationship the father has is emphasized in early bonding experiences. His role is to provide a social womb for his pregnant wife or partner. Mm-hmm. This means creating a safe place for the pregnancy, allowing the mother to encounter the extensive changes that are taking place within the womb, within her body, and also the widespread changes taking place in her life. So the fathers represent a very important role. Yeah,
I'm sorry, I just want to change that. Instead of saying father, I want to say significant other.
Yes, significant other.
The partner could be, the secondary parent, or the other parent could be male or female.
Yeah.
So we don't want to forget those double mamas or double papas.
That's right. There. That's right. Absolutely.
So you're saying is that if they create this, they do their best to create this atmosphere that is as sparkly and bubbly and soft as possible, then that's the way that they can bond.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's sort of like this social womb, for the pregnant partner or wife or significant other. That's really important, for the bonding that takes place between the partner, significant other, and the baby that's developing. Yeah.
I love that social womb.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Thank
you so much. And how would, let's say, somebody who maybe isn't in San Diego, or how do people get a hold of you, and how do they, learn and appreciate your knowledge?
Yeah, well, I do want to leave the audience with a few key tips and advice.
Oh, great, yes.
I'm a huge fan, a huge advocate of, so many beautiful, psychologists and some of their work out there. And one that I really, really love is Dr. Jessica Zucker. And, she sort of proposes, prenatal bonding by offering, a few key tips. And I just kind of want to outline those here.
Oh, yes.
And what she says is for parents, to be connected, to be present, to be attuned to their bodies, developing the baby, developing the breath, to cultivate embodied awareness. She says to be true. And she says that parenting can make rooms for moms to be, to feel, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can cause moms to feel alienated. But some women don't necessarily feel overjoyed by all of the elements of pregnancy.
Right.
And if you're not 100% excited all the time, it's okay that you can be who you are. And she encourages, mothers to take time to reflect on what they truly feel, what their gut reactions are, and what feels right for them along the parenting path. Then she says to be bold, to kind of step into that uncharted territory within, and mindfully wonder about, what, as a parent, what the enthusiasm is, what one's fears are, what their identity is, and their personal history. And then to also begin to challenge themselves to rest in those uncomfortable places internally, and then to ask for help when needed. And finally, she says to be curious. She says that attachment and bonding during pregnancy and in the early moments of a child's life sort of sets the framework for relationships, as we mentioned, you know, for the baby to come. And so we have to reflect on our attachment relationships within our families of origin to consider addressing issues that might be pulling us away from those from our heartstrings. So, you know, these are just a few tips for parents to keep in mind. If they want to contact me, I can give them my email address or phone number, you know, if that works well.
Oh, great.
I don't mind doing that. And I can be contacted at 619-253-8197, and my email address is dburnstherapy@gmail.com.
Fantastic. And we'll make sure to have those available on, where can we put those, MJ, so that people can access them?
Well, we can definitely put it on today's Hangout, the Hangout page. We can also update the event page, and then we'll just throw it as a comment under the YouTube. And please, if you watch the video, you can comment, make any comments, and if there's anything for Danielle, then we'll get it to her, or we'll leave her email there and her phone number so that you can contact her.
Yay, so cool. I mean, this conversation, you know, this topic is one of those things that I just find so fascinating because it encompasses so many aspects of not just science, but also, like you were saying, this, you know, the spirituality, this intangible, this incalculable, unknown that we are just starting to discover. So thank you, definitely. And thank you for going to the Lindsay Project, or participating in the Lindsay Project, and going to the Lindsay Community School and sharing this with the young parents. It was a hit, and your presentation got some really good responses, so they were pleased that you were there. So
thank you so much. Thank you. It was a pleasure being there as well, and I'm looking forward to, you know, coming back and teaching those beautiful young ladies, you know, how to begin developing positive relationships with their babies and their children. They're beautiful, beautiful women.
Yeah,
it's really an honor to be a part of that experience. Yeah.
I think that just the way that they are so inquisitive about the things that we talk to them about, and I think that, you know, you just have to go in with that open mind of that they're, you know, gonna take in what you're saying, and they really do, and it just makes it so much easier to talk to them because they love it, you know.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, the Lindsay Project is something that MJ and I work on, where we work with the Lindsay Community School here in San Diego, which is a school for pregnant and parenting teens. It's a high school that allows them to finish their education with their babies on site. So it's a really, I get goosebumps just thinking about it. It's great because these kids are really trying hard to improve their situation for themselves and their children, so that I find much inspiration from them.
Yeah, seriously, like that's as real as it gets with parenting right there, you know.
I know.
I mean,
I get a little bit
imagine. Yeah, I couldn't imagine doing what they do at the age that they are. So, and just to be open to the subjects that we bring to them is just so awesome.
Yeah, so amazing, so amazing. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And I have another call to action that MJ and I are very happy about, and that is the upcoming Big Latch On 2015. Are you familiar with the Big Latch On, Danielle?
Tell me about the Big Latch On.
Woohoo! Okay. Well, the Big Latch On started, I want to say, in 2009. I may have my dates mixed up, but basically it started in New Zealand, and it's where breastfeeding mothers gather and everybody breastfeeds at the same time in the attempt to break a world record and bring global awareness to breastfeeding. So last year there were 187 locations in 13 different countries of breastfeeding moms, breastfeeding all together at the same time. It was pretty fabulous. MJ and I got to cover it in our earlier incarnation, and this year we're going to cover it through Mama Tribe Network at the San Diego location. And we're super excited because we've reached out to other locations to have moms join us. And that's locations within our time zone, so that's our call to action, is if you're going to be at a location or if you can't make it to a location but you want to participate, join us in the hangout because we're going to be there. We're going to have people throughout our entire time zone, including Mexico, a couple locations in Mexico, all jumping on throughout the time. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, MJ, if you can tell people how they can participate or join in, that would be awesome.
Sure, yeah. And like OG said, you know, if you're at a location in the Pacific Standard Time, because we'll all be there at the same time, then you can jump on. Or if you were at a location and you just want to jump on, or if you have questions or whatever, if you want to jump on, we are going to post the link and we will have it. We actually have it on the scheduled hangout, so you can look up on our events under Mama Tribe Presents. We have the hangout, the YouTube link, and the Google Plus link, however you want to view it under that event page. But also we have a link for if you want to participate. So we have the link already there, but we will definitely post it on our Facebook page, on our Google Plus page. You know, maybe we'll even hit our personal Instagrams to let people know, because I mean, it doesn't really matter where you are. We're going to be, I know it starts at 9, but I think we're going to start broadcasting around 9:30. We may do a little earlier depending on what's going on, but 9:30 to 10:30, probably 11 is maybe when we'll end it, Pacific Standard Time. So wherever you are, just we'll make the link clear that this is the participation link.
Yes, yes. And, you know, if you attended one in a different time zone or you're going to attend one in a different time zone, jump on. Tell us how it went or what you're looking forward to, because I think that the ability for us to participate in a hangout kind of embodies the idea of the Latch On, and that is to bring global awareness to breastfeeding. And I know that one of the goals of the Global Latch On was that in the future there'll be a Latch On event within walking distance from every single family.
That would be so awesome.
If you can't walk there, if you can't get there, you can still be a part of it virtually. And I love being a part of something bigger than myself. So
yeah, and this is really totally the way to like get your, you know, start your Mama Tribe. I mean, if you're even pregnant, go to a big Latch On near you. You know, start getting the support that you need and building your tribe. That's one of the things that I think we've both found through baby wearing meetings, breastfeeding, through these type of big events. You know, you find your tribe this way. You connect with moms that are either in your same situation, have children the same age or older or younger. It's really awesome.
Yeah, it's a great community. It's a great tribe for sure. So keep a lookout for that. It's this Saturday, Pacific Standard Time. Yay!
Yep.
Do it. Do it. And then we also have another little, not to be diminutive or dismissive, we have another segment which we call What You Missed, or Share Our Shows. So we just want to make sure that if you missed any of our recent past shows, that you know what they are. And for example, we just did, and it's a perfect accompaniment to today's topic, MJ just did an All Things Crunchy with Dr. G about
birth and pregnancy and the aspect of having a healthy birth and pregnancy.
Yes, it was really good. I got to jump on for a little bit, but if you'd like to take a look at that, that's in our playlist under Mama Tribe Presents, right?
Nope.
After dark. Sorry.
Yep.
See, yeah, not enough. There's never enough coffee.
We got too much going on the Mama Tribe Network.
Too much. And then also, I just recently did the raising spiritual children or recognizing the spiritual gifts in your children in case your kids talk to people who aren't there. You may get some advice from Allison Ellsbury. So that was really neat.
Well, and your show was awesome too, because it was like Danielle was talking about, kind of a, it not only is about our kids, but it almost is about recognizing stuff in ourselves too, and the things that may have happened to us as a child. And you know, your kids don't, like, if you watch the show, and you should, Allison was saying that your kids don't have to fit every single category, you know, because I know personally that my niece was gifted just in, you know, from 1 year old, and her like needing to be near me and love on me when I needed the love. So, you know, there's one thing right there.
Yeah, that episode was very enlightening for me as an individual, not as a parent, but as the child that I once was. It kind of it put a lot of things in perspective that I really had no idea how to compartmentalize, or like where do I put this shit, you know? How does this work in my head, in my life, in reality? So it was really cool. It was I liked it. Yeah.
I'm really excited about my show tomorrow night, Friday night. So
yes,
because
that's a good topic.
Yeah,
I love our topics.
I get kind of selfish with my shows. It's like, what do I need to know?
But you know, I do the same, and I think that, you know, and Danielle, I think you can chime in on this. It's like not everybody has a voice, and so if you have a question or you have a passion, it has to represent other people who don't have the opportunity to speak it out. So, what's the topic, Em?
So I'm going to have Miss Rachel Rainbow of Sage Parenting on to talk about. She wrote a fantastic article about stranger danger, and more particularly talking about the programs that were put into effect, you know, for our childhood, you know, don't abstinence, and don't say no to drugs, and, you know, don't talk to strangers, and just what that actually does to our kids, and grouping these strangers into one group. And it's actually not helpful, because if your child is in need of, you know, if they get lost per se, you know, then they need to find somebody to help them. You know, what can they do? And so she breaks it down into, you know, we need to teach our kids about good strangers, and then about the not so good strangers. So
yeah,
you know,
the drunk guy with his pants down, stay away. Stay away from him.
Exactly.
He's not a good choice if you're lost.
This article just gives such great tips, and she really has an awesome way of explaining why these programs that we grew up with really just don't work, and puts it into perspective.
Kind of backfire.
Yeah, and just, you know, makes you kind of understand that, gee, if you group people together in the stranger category, you could do that, like when you're, you know, you wouldn't look deeper if you just looked on the surface to even make friends.
Right.
And that kind of hit home with me, like, wow, you know, if we're teaching our kids to just look on the surface, we're not teaching them to, you know, to look behind, you know, the curtain there. But so it's going to be really fun. We're gonna, I think, fun and informative. I always love talking with Rachel, but this is just something that is not only educational, but it's could save your child's life.
Yeah, and that's not being dramatic. That's the reality of the situation.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things too, I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but she's talking about how to tell your kids what to do when they are being handled in a way that they shouldn't be handled. And she's like, this is absolutely the time that you kick, scream, bite, you know, like this is the time that you do that, you know. So, you know, teaching your kids for such a long time, oh, we don't want to do that. Well, here's the time that you can. This is the time.
Yeah, self-preservation. Definitely. Yeah. Self-preservation over social acceptance, because sometimes we're afraid of insulting people or saying the wrong thing or looking bad, and so we let things be done to us that we otherwise would not want. And so
Yeah,
I think it's,
and that's the big key too, is that when you group strangers into a group, then all of a sudden the people that you know are people that you should trust. But when it really comes down to it, those are the people that are
more
molesting
likely,
our kids too.
to molest our children. Yeah. So that brings us right into, what do you need? Because like MJ said, she feels a little selfish, and I do too, because I always go for the topics that I'm curious about. So what are you curious about? If you have something that you just don't understand or that you heard of and you want us to do the research, we will do it and we will talk it out. So make sure and send us at mamatribenetwork@gmail.com any questions, or post on our Facebook or any of the social media where we're at. And I thank everybody for joining us today. And I'm so glad you made it, Danielle. I was worried.
I'm so happy that I made it. Thank you guys so much for inviting me, and thank you to you guys out there for listening.
Yay. Well, we're so excited, and we will make all of that information, as well as the authors you listed. I want to get those names from you so we can make those available also to our viewers. And yay, so we will see y'all on Saturday if you can join us for the big Latch on, and if not, then we'll see you on Thursday.
Yeah, or check out my show tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah, totally. And I'll be a brunette, hopefully, by then.
Ooh,
yeah,
nice.
I've decided to bite the bullet and to go back to a life of color.
Awesome.
Okay, have a great day, ladies.
Yay, hang on with us, Danielle. I'm going to stop the broadcast.
Okay. Sure.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.